Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is Israr Kasana, and today we are going to discuss very important topic, and that is the elections in Calgary. As you know, Calgary is one of the top and beautiful cities in the world, and it is the third most diverse city in Canada, actually. But before we talk about the elections, let me tell you about Calgary's City Council. This is main governing and legislative body for the city of Calgary, and its role is to ensure the city of Calgary provides services Calgarians need and want. So it's very important. It is responsible for determining goals and priorities, developing and improving policies, bylaws, and major projects, planning and providing services which we need and programs. And then very important thing is this to set the tax rate and approving the city's budget, which is again a very important thing. And then hiring the city manager, who in turn actually oversees all the city departments and then representing the municipality. So it is very important. As they say, all politics is local. So this is what we are talking about today. And let me tell you what does this city council make up. There are 14 geographical areas which are called wards, and they are represented by 14 councillors. And obviously, the head of the council is the mayor. And to talk about the bigger picture and strategic picture of the city, we have with us the mayoral candidate and a top contender of the job, Jeromy Farkas. And we will go into the details with him and talk about what is his campaign is all about. And here is Jeromy Farkas. Jeromy, hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for making the time for me.
Thank you very much, Jeromy. Thank you for your time. I know you were very busy, but to start with, tell me, why should I vote for you, Jeromy?
Well, I'm running for mayor to bring about real change. My family, they arrived as refugees. I come from a proud immigrant family. I grew up in East Calgary and Dover. And, I never forgot where I came from. And I think
Yeah.
over the past 4 years as a city councilor, I've shown that I'm willing to stand up for the everyday Calgarians who have elected me.
Mhm.
And when my family they came to Canada, they found a lot more than just a place to find a job. They found a promise of a fresh start. And when I think about the doors that were closed to me as a child, my father, my mother, they worked very hard to make sure that those doors would be made open to me. And
Yes.
while we didn't have a lot of money growing up, we had a lot of opportunity. And I think that's the reason that I'm running, to bring about real change and to bring back economy, bring back jobs, bring back opportunity to our great city. And I'm running because I know that Calgary has what it takes to be able to come back stronger and better than ever.
Absolutely. So, what are you hearing at the doors? What is the response of the Calgarians so far?
I think the big issue has been around the economy. I think over the
Mhm.
last 10 years or so, Calgarians have struggled with opportunity. We've seen the economy crumble. We've seen the taxes increase. We've
Right.
seen how hard it is to do business in the city. And we've seen City Hall get really out of touch. So when I talk to people at the doors, they tell me they want a job. They want to make sure that their taxes are affordable.
Right.
So that's really my focus, is being able to get those taxes under control. And
Yeah.
it's why my first promise is to work with council on a 4-year tax freeze.
Yes. I'll go to the economic issues later, but before that, let me ask you a question. Is this election all about extreme left and extreme right, or this is about issues, real issues Calgarians face every day?
Well, I think this election is about right and wrong. I think that we've been on the wrong path at City Hall with so much spending, with so much secrecy, and City Hall has become out of touch with what's happening in the real world. I think that just like every family and every business owner has had to do, City Hall needs to live within its means. It can't spend money that it doesn't have. And I think that I have a strong plan, a 10-point plan to be able to get our city back on top and where we belong.
Right. So when you talk about that, the city was not in touch with the people or their issues. So what basically you are saying is that you're blaming the previous administration, right? So what do you think? Was there any lack of vision or lack of, any strategic plan?
Well, I think too many closed door meetings at City Hall. I think a lot of secrecy, and I think taxpayers deserve to know how their money is being
And
spent.
your sixth point is actually about those secret meetings.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, taxpayers deserve to know how where their money is going.
Yeah.
And I think out of touch as well. Like I grew up in East Calgary. I came from Dover, Forest Lawn, and I think it's embarrassing to see some other parts of the city, like the
Right.
Northeast, not getting the attention that they need. It's not to give special attention to the Northeast, but it's
Yes.
making sure that no matter what neighborhood you are from in the city, that you deserve the same level of standard and services, transit, policing, security, snow clearing. We need to make sure that every community is treated equally.
Right. But the problem is that the lack of vision is always where, we feel that there is a problem. So what is your vision about, especially you just mentioned about the Northeast. When we go to Northeast doesn't look like a part of Calgary. So what is your vision about that area?
So my vision for every Calgarian is for them to be able to live a good life. My
Mhm.
father, he came here as a refugee, as an immigrant, and I come from a proud immigrant family. And I
Mhm.
want to make sure that everyone else has the same opportunity that I had to be able to succeed. So my vision is for financial responsibility, strong, growing economy. I want to make sure that City Hall is open, that it's transparent, including Calgarians in the decision-making process. And I
Mhm.
want to make sure that our communities are safe, that they're vibrant, that we
Right.
have adequate support for policing and security, and we can address things like crime.
Right. Yeah. You see, this crime issue is very, very important, and we see that the crimes are increasing, and uh, especially the crimes against the visible minorities. That is a very, very serious issue. Racist attacks, and they've been happening with impunity. So, do you have any plan to eradicate that issue as well?
Yeah, and part of it's going to be requiring changes at the provincial and federal level to the laws, but
Mhm.
also giving the police the resources that they need to be able to investigate, to follow through, and to charge these criminals and hold them accountable for their despicable behavior.
Right, right. No, because I know you've been talking about the defunding of police. So, what is your platform on that?
So I think we need to make sure that the police are kept accountable, that they're focused on diversity, that they represent the community. And I think you can be supporting the good cops and be against the bad cops. So I'd be wanting to see things like mental health and addiction supports. I'd want to see investment in the body worn camera program so
Yes.
that if there's complaints against the police, that there's evidence so that those officers who may betray the public trust are held accountable and they're no longer allowed to serve in those roles. And I
Yeah.
think those things I think are really good to be able to protect the public, but
Yeah.
also to protect the good police officers so that you don't have people making frivolous complaints.
Absolutely. You talked about the economy. We have witnessed the economic downturn after COVID, especially. Look at downtown; it's
Yeah,
almost a ghost town at 33% vacancy rate, highest ever and unprecedented, and no end in sight.
that's a
So
big
how to
problem.
make it a dynamic and full of life city, like New York? Any viable downtown revitalization strategy you have?
Yeah, and the big one is people won't go downtown unless they feel safe. So because of
Absolutely.
this defund ideology, Calgary is now the only major North American city without a downtown police station.
Yeah,
It was
that's
closed.
weird. That's weird. Very weird, actually.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It was closed at the same time as the drug site opened, which
Yeah.
has made it harder for businesses to operate downtown. I think we need
As
to
a matter of fact, I lived in New York, and I think they had like a couple of precincts there in Manhattan at least.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we also have to address the affordability. We need to get our taxes under control so that the businesses can operate sustainably in the downtown. We also need to address parking prices. So our
Yes.
downtown parking prices are some of the most expensive, if
Mhm.
not the most expensive in the entire world. And if we
Right.
want people to come downtown to shop, to have lunch, that sort of thing, we need to make it accessible. I'm pushing for things like a train to the airport as a way that we can connect our downtown to the airport, better have that connection, and then
Right.
other things to be able to help with vibrancy, support for the arts, creative industries, film, television, as
Yeah.
well as post-secondary education institutions. So I think there's a number of pieces there, but there's no one magic bullet.
There's no one magical wand. Yeah, absolutely. But you see, you just talked about the business community, and the business community is very worried. I know a lot of people who do the small businesses. They are very worried, and actually, they have been suffering. So there are no new jobs coming up for
Yeah.
newcomers, especially. They're very hard to find. So any plan to fix that?
So I want to work closely with our education institutions to be able to get those credentials faster. So a
Right,
lot of people come to Canada and come to Calgary. They already have the skills, the know-how, the education. They
right.
just need to make sure that the city, or rather the country, recognizes those skills so that they can get to work quicker. So
Mhm.
my vision is for Calgary to continue to be one of our most diverse cities. And I would argue that I think Calgary should be the most welcoming of any city in Canada. To
Absolutely.
say that if you are arriving to Canada, you
Mhm.
should come to Calgary because we will be able to help you find work the quickest. We'll
Right.
recognize your skills, your education, so that rather than be doing some other job for lower pay, you can get working quicker in your field that with the education that you had from wherever you came from.
Right. You see, talking about the property tax, 82% of businesses cite this as the most concerning factor, and they think the property taxes are very high. So you are advocating 4-year property freeze, right?
Yes.
And property tax freeze, actually. But in that case, how would you balance the budget?
Well, we can continue to spend money on the right things. With a property tax freeze, more
Mhm.
people coming to the city, more growth, more development actually means that there'll be a little bit of a budget increase, even with a
Mhm.
tax freeze. So that
Mhm.
means that we can continue to invest in the right areas, that we can spend the money on the things that Calgarians need, but that we're not wasting the money. So right now, there's a lot of waste, there's inefficiency, money that's being spent on things that Calgarians don't want or don't need. And really, just like every family or business has been forced to, you have to
Yeah.
live within your means. You have to make sure that you're spending only what you need to.
Yeah. You just said, it should be Calgary should be a welcoming city. But what we see on ground is that young people are leaving Alberta then coming here. You see, so this is very important factor because we have to attract the young people all over, maybe from all over Canada or maybe globally. So how can you reverse this trend?
Well, I think Calgary, the vision for a city needs to be the destination of choice for the world's smartest people to
Right.
solve the world's toughest problems. We do that today in oil and gas and energy and technology. And I think we have a lot of opportunities around, say, agriculture business,
Mhm.
through finance, through technology. There's a lot of areas, but I think Calgary can continue to be a place where anybody can come from anywhere in this world and make something for themselves. So my
Right.
father, he came as a refugee, but he was very clear to me, my brother, my sister, that because I was Calgarian, there'd be no limits on what I could do, who I could be, where I could go. And I think that that is something so special about our city.
Right. We talked about the visible minorities and the newcomers especially. You see, the problem is that we have to have inculcate a feeling of inclusivity among the newcomers and especially the immigrants. So, is there any policy of inclusivity which you are going to pursue? How to make Calgary an inclusive city where there are no marginalized communities and all Calgarians feel part of the overall scheme of things?
Well, absolutely. We need to make sure that we're continuing to support events, festivals, allowing for more diversity, for more opportunities for Calgarians to be able to experience cultures that are not their own. I was so lucky growing up at Forest Lawn, Dover, because I got to meet through school many of my friends who came from other places around the world. And I was so fortunate as a child to get to uh, visit their families at their kitchen table, their dinner table, getting
Right.
to enjoy their food, their culture. And for me, that's so much about what makes Calgary special. The fact
Absolutely.
that anybody can come from anywhere and succeed here.
Absolutely. Coming back to the those secret meetings, your campaign promise is to to reduce those secret meetings. Why just to reduce them? Why not finish them altogether?
Yeah, and there's
This
some
is this
things
is this is
around
not this is unthinkable in a democracy. Actually,
Yeah, there's some things around crime and security, like investigations, legal things that I think should be confidential. Things around, say, law enforcement investigations. I
Mhm.
think there's a couple of areas where I think that there is a good reason for it to be confidential. But right now, I think City Council overuses it on things like the Olympic bid around the arena deal. I think
Mhm.
that we need to be very clear that there's specific controls around this so that council isn't abusing the closed door meetings.
So we are showing your website for Jeromy. Please let the people know that how to get involved, how to reach your campaign? How can they do it?
Yeah, it's just at jeromy.ca. And please contact me anytime if I can ever be of help to you.
Right. And final message for the voters on the, for the 18th.
Well, I'm running to bring about real change. On October 18th, I'm asking for your vote. I think Calgary has what it takes to be able to come back stronger than ever. And unlike the other candidates, unlike Jody Gondek, Jeff Davison, I keep my promises, not just when it's easy to do, but when it's tough to do. I turned down the city councillor golden pension. The other candidates, they promised that they'd change it, but the moment that they were elected, they signed up just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I have something that no other candidate does, a proven record, a plan, and the energy and drive to be able to get it done. And just like I said, I'll always be that kid who grew up in Dover in East Calgary. I never forgot where I came from. And if you elect me as mayor, I'll never forget you.
And especially for the immigrant community, because in our communities, I think there should be a direct message to the immigrants as well.
Yeah, and I came. My family came as refugees. I'm part of a proud immigrant family. I see every day how Calgary needs to be more accepting for newcomers, because my father, English was not his first language. I saw in many ways how he struggled with lack of opportunity. And this is something that I care very deeply about, because Calgary needs to be equal. We need to be a place where everybody and anybody can achieve opportunity.
Very good, Jeromy. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck for 18th. And hopefully I will see you after you become a mayor of the city. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.